Minutes from February because of the audio problem from last time, so we'll postpone that. And adjustments to the agenda, apparently there is going to be some public input. And I might want to make a suggestion because we've only met 6 times since 2018.
Yeah.
And we have a lot on our plate of things to do. Let's allow the person, whoever wants to give us the public input, and then we can table the discussions to the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I would suggest. So are you doing the public input or no?
I'm a visitor.
Okay. So were Jan and Bob gonna speak during the public input section?
I have no idea.
Okay.
There's no one in Zoom. We got the Colonel here in the audience, but that's about it.
Okay. So we'll go on with our agenda, and then if they do have something to add, we'll add it at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so we decided as our committee, our commission, that we would follow the standard MEAC, Maine Association of Conservation Commission's bylaws, and that we wouldn't write our own set of bylaws ourselves. So that was decided at the last meeting. Dutch Neck Marine Park Trail, it's in the same situation. We're waiting for warmer weather to be able to go and finish the trail and plan an opening day and have a ribbon cutting ceremony of 2 or 3 people or something like that.
Yeah.
Quarry Hill, we decided that that's really prime for the Adopt a Park program, which we're slowly getting ready to release. And again, we want to highlight the berry picking part of it for this summer because it is open to the public for picking berries, and that's a wonderful resource. See, the Town Forest Trail, that's going to require warmer weather. We got to reroute the trail for the poison ivy and for getting it back on town property all the way. And the George Gould Trail, my adventures there showed that there was a lot of blowdown. There was a lot of clearing, but luckily the Midcoast Conservancy trail crew is willing to help us out, and they're actually people with chainsaws and stuff too, so that they can really move some things or reroute it, go around things if they're too much of an obstruction. So all those things will be put on the agenda for the springtime, and each time we do it, I'll do a press release and we'll ask for volunteers to help.
Okay.
On to the new business. Now, Steve was kind of honchoing the Adopt a Park program, again, which will follow some of these other things we do, like the Earth Day. And he and I had put together a list of all of the different places. And when we say Adopt a Park, we just even mean sites. The site for the memorial statue that's on Pine Street, and places that belong to the town that just need spiffing up or cleaning up or making sure there's no trash. And so that's where we go. And we're right on to you, Leslie. Earth Day plans.
Yeah, so I've shared a copy of that. I can share this here with you, but Earth Day was kind of the initial idea to start raising some public awareness of the trails that we do have.
First day is April 22nd.
April 22nd, and our last meeting, I know you were interested in making it more of a week awareness over just a day. So the plan, I'd like to get some attention going on the social media before all of this. It's just I want to go out and get some pictures and educational pieces. But I thought this could really drum up some attention before the summer to see who is interested in helping us volunteer and raise awareness, because I think just reading on Facebook and listening to Steve, it sounds like a lot of people don't know about some of the trails. So I thought on Sunday we'll talk about how for the whole week we're gonna each day highlight a location each day, talk about its needs and then the directions. I'm gonna try to also submit to Google the GPS coordinates to see if I can get the trails on there. So
and there's also Maine Trail Finder is a network that you can put our trails on, load them with them, and they just do an online listing of all the trails in Maine.
Yeah.
And if you want to list them with them, you can.
Yeah. I'm gonna bite off Google. I just want to bite off Google Maps for now, and then work towards, because I know there's so many hiking apps and everything else to get them on, which would be wonderful.
Yeah, and we have to fix up our maps and we have to kind of finalize the trails and all before we really start sending a lot of people there.
Yeah. So that's the intent anyway, and where with taking COVID precautions, instead of encouraging a whole crowd to gather, the intent is like maybe you'll do it with your loved ones or your family or friends, and we're encouraging it each day. And if somebody reaches out and wants one of us to be a representative on the Saturday or something, I'm happy to go out. But I'm excited to see what the reactions and the questions are.
And we could also help with some bags and gloves and things like that, so that people, if they don't feel that they have that accessibility, we can make that available.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the plan, and then so at the end of the week, the very last day, I'm hoping people will post pictures so we can feature them on Friday, and then a call to action on Saturday, trying to get some more volunteers to be a part, or maybe we'll get somebody that's interested in being a member. So
yeah, I think part of it too is they could help not just clean up the trail, but like Quarry Hill, like you said, it's not really clear all the way around the edge of the quarry.
Yeah.
That it really needs to be cleared up a bit more, and
I am hoping to get out there before that week, because I don't want to send somebody out there to an incomplete trail. So,
Right.
and I feel like, I think I could tackle it enough that it would be a clearer path for people
just needs
to go around.
because it's single file, as long as we have the room for one person to get through, without tripping and things.
And maybe just a little trail marker, because there's no markings around it, which is what was confusing the last time I was down there.
And I do have that blue paint that I got from the company that does the forest things, but I'm not sure it's the correct blue color, but it's blue. Should show up above, but it won't look like leaves.
Yeah. So
What date does that start on, the Earth Day?
April 22nd is the,
April 22nd is Earth Day. The April 18th will be the day that I put the first post up, kind of drumming up.
it's Thursday, the 22nd is a Thursday. So the 18th. We can do press releases, because a lot of people don't necessarily have Facebook and all these other things, so press releases are also very helpful.
Yeah.
A lot of people read the papers online, so that could be helpful.
And we should definitely
Yes, all right.
try to get the trails marked before
Hey,
that,
Steve,
Yeah.
we started
especially
without Steve.
that one at
but
Dutch
we've
Neck
got
is.
plenty of room for you to talk.
Yes. So we should set a day that what William was just saying is to make sure the trails are marked leading up to that week.
Especially finishing up that Dutch Neck reroute, and
Yeah.
because we don't want somebody to step off that ledge or something.
Yeah.
No. Well, and again, it's a lot of it's weather dependent too. And we could ask for some volunteer help from the Mid-Coast Conservancy on some of these trails. Now, their mode of operandus is Wednesdays at 9 a.m. So that they get together on at least Wednesdays at 9 a.m. And I don't know if it's every week or every other week. There's a schedule that they have. So
I feel like we could, stop me if I'm getting too excited here, but I feel like we could get the Waldorf Town Forest reroute, the Quarry Hill, and Dutch Neck. I think that's easily tackleable.
Yeah.
We can tackle that, and then the Gould Trail would be the one that the Mid-Coast
Need help.
Conservancy would be nice to get involved in.
yeah, that's gonna require a lot of hauling things around and putting in new
Yeah.
bridges and stuff like that.
I'd still really like to walk that. I haven't been down there since I went to junior high there, so I want to go down and kind of get a feel for that too.
Walking that too.
Okay, so that sounds good. So, so that would be the Earth Week kind of thing that we'd have. And yeah, any dates that you want to set to go out and do it, just let the rest of us know. If I can make it and the weather's good, I'll make it, but
Okay.
again, I don't walk all that far or all that fast.
Yeah.
But I can provide the paint and I can, help out with other stuff too.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many the parking lots in that area, and maybe it's a good time to refresh any of the kiosk information that's gotten weathered over the winter.
Yes.
So we'll make sure. I'm excited. I really hope people show up.
I think that'd be great.
And then as far as tasks assigned, because it's mostly virtual, if you want to handle like the press releases for like the paper part of it,
Yep.
I'm comfortable doing the blasts on social media.
Yeah. I'll do it. And we have our Facebook page now. Did
I
you
know.
do the Instagram thing, or?
I got Instagram set up. Max got me on as an editor for the Facebook page, and I started trying to figure it out how to link it, and I haven't gotten there yet, and I haven't had content without going out to the trails. So I'm really hoping this weekend is the weekend that I can get some pictures and.
And you need a day off to do all this.
I just need to take
Yeah,
off.
it's not supposed to be bad this weekend.
No, it'd be nice, and I want to get some pictures, and I think it'd be fun just to do like some fun, like, Fun Fact Friday, and we can talk about a type of tree or the hemlocks, and feature them that way, kind of raising awareness of the flora and fauna, and the reason why we do these conservation efforts.
Mhm.
So, we'll see.
That sounds good. Sounds good. And then we'll talk, once we get through Earth Day and some of these trails and things like that, then we'll think forward to the blueberry picking and how we can make the public aware of that and how they can realize that this is their own community resource,
Yeah,
which will be kind of exciting.
and again, COVID depending, it would be great to do an educational session
Mhm.
up there about it.
That would be cool. Okay, well, we skipped over the Adopt a Park program because Steve was gonna talk about that, and I think this Earth Day, I think
What?
you mentioned that in the email too, that the Earth Day is a kind of a preliminary way of getting volunteers to be aware of the Conservation Commission, to be aware of the trails and the parks that we have, and then hopefully, we can, do this Adopt a Park program a little bit more formally, but still just asking people to volunteer, not having to make commitments, not necessarily have to do anything special. But as you found out, there's certain trails, certain places that you prefer.
Mhm.
And there's some people that love to go to Quarry Hill. They don't really care about the other parks.
Yeah.
And that'll be good. And then it'll be the timing to get the Shellfish committee involved in helping cleanup efforts,
Yeah.
things, as they do it for their thing.
I'm hoping to encourage hands-on volunteer, like the people that want to do it are ready to be hands-on, because that's, as we all know, that's what we lack is
Yes.
as people that are willing to go out there, be hands-on and help with the cleanup of the trails and maintenance.
Yeah. And it gets away from you fast.
Yeah, it does. So it would be nice. And
And with this wind, there's blowdowns. Sometimes it's just little limbs across the trail that just need to be thrown off. So you want to talk about the Adopt a Park program? Or?
Well, I basically, did all of you get what I emailed?
I couldn't
After the
find
last
it.
meeting?
I went back looking for the latest, and I only had my old stuff, so if you could send it out again.
Okay, well, I'll do that. I also have printed copies. So this is, unless there are changes that other people would like, this is kind of my final edit with an example of what I believe we should do for detailed descriptions of the tasks for each site. Sorry about having to do the collating as I go, but
No big deal.
I'm not as organized as I sometimes appear. I think I may have emailed copies of this to you after the select board meeting.
All right.
But there you go. So basically this kind of cleans up and condenses the original document a little bit. Maybe clarifies a little bit too. And then the site list is basically basically all I did with that was eliminate the section at the bottom that had the sponsorship,
Yeah, which is fine.
which didn't seem appropriate to me for publication.
Yeah,
And then the third page is, excuse me. Need a little breath.
I know. Some maps are better than others.
Yeah, well.
This one keeps closing my nose.
Some days are better than others, too. So the third page would be, well, I'm kind of envisioning a two-step process. Getting people to register for the program. And then the second stage would be getting them to adopt a specific site.
Mhm,
So if they're interested in a specific site,
mhm.
then they would get the third page, which is the
Yep, the plan, kind of the
detailed task.
keeping up the park board, yeah.
Right.
Sounds good, sounds good.
And then we'd have basically one page of detail for each site
Mhm.
that could then be handed out.
Okay. Okay, this sounds good. So I think the Earth Day situation is the April, then maybe in May, we kind of publish this Adopt a Park program and start looking into, now that the trails are open, now that the places are available to go to, we can now get volunteers helping out with all the other sites there are.
The parks and trails on this list, like, have we talked with the recreation department about, do they know that
Well,
On the
we did
Adopt a
when
Park
the
list.
recreation department was a whole different category of people.
okay,
I mean,
Well-
this goes back to 2016.
yeah,
Yeah, we had, I had some, well, kind of ongoing informal discussions with John Daigle and
What was his name?
with
What was the first,
What's his
before Marcus Benner, it was,
that Marcus, yeah, and Marcus, because Marcus was helping out with John last year,
yeah.
because he was so short-handed.
Mhm,
And Marcus helped me out with,
mhm.
like getting the pots from my house over to the landing and stuff like that.
And basically, anything we can do as a town commission to help maintain these places, it's all cooperative effort,
Right.
whether it be,
oh, I agree, since, I'm asking because since I've been on, like, I haven't seen the discussions with the rec department or the Shellfish Commission, so I was just wondering if they've been in the loop on this and they've, like, they understand the collaboration.
most of this is, they are already doing that. It's like the rec department is already taking care of the ballpark.
Right, exactly.
They're already taking care of,
Because that's their,
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
but again, we as a commission have an overall responsibility for all the parks and recreation areas in the town as far as knowing that they're being maintained and knowing that,
yeah, as long as somebody's got it covered,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and that's why they're in here. But again, should they need some volunteers to help out, that's where we would come in and we'd help. We'd say, oh, well, we have this program. If you want to be on the list, we can get some volunteers to help out.
I'm sure Marcus would be happy if he had somebody every once in a while to come in and just do some other tasks for him while he goes off.
And there's other things too, that the Elm Street area that we want to really weed whack and dig up some of the stumps there and really have a nice, beautiful view of the water right there. There's all kinds of things that we've talked about with John Daigle and with everyone, but we haven't had the manpower or the timing to do it.
Yeah.
We kind of got off track. When Edward died, we just kind of fell apart, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one, I don't think Steve, I didn't give you one of these. The last thing I had is this little flyer. Because Steve was saying, and after all this stuff about 80 Gray, and not everybody knows where all the green spaces are in our town, and we should share that with them, that we have this lovely little flyer.
Great.
And again, that's the first stab at it, because the pictures are not that great, and Leslie's gonna help me out with some of those. And some of the wording, I didn't write. Oh, and if you want to share, Will, if you could share that for just a minute, just so he could take a look at it also, but you can have it. You can have it out. Just to get the idea that
Occupy this corner,
Yeah,
and that'll make it
absolutely.
easier on you. I
it's
promise
kind
not to
of
breathe on
just to
you.
highlight the most things in the town that we have, there's, like, the 5 main things we have in the town is in the town forest, Quarry Hill, we have the Dutch Neck Park, we have the town landing, and then what I call the pocket parks.
Right.
And the pocket parks are like, you go from the rest area down Mill Street over to Elm Street, and I'm calling it the natural fish ladder, because it is a fish ladder there.
And then there's
And
the
then you
West Main parking lot.
then the river park that belongs to the East Coast Conservancy, you can walk by, and then the Pine Street Landing. So, I mean, we call it a pocket park because you could walk to the areas. And I tried to, give directions and things, but again, this is the very first stab. I didn't spend a whole lot of time doing it. I just kind of threw it together. But we can, improve on it,
Yeah.
make it more professional, and then get it printed more professionally. I just did it on standard paper, standard printer.
Great job.
But that's something that we could have here at the town office, and this is something we could put on the website. So Max, if we could put something like that on the website. Also on the website, Max, just while I'm thinking of it right at this minute, Jan Visser is still listed as a commission member,
Yep.
and Will and Leslie are not listed, nor is Larry.
You know what? I'll do that right now.
Yeah, because, it's not a big deal, but people might say, oh, I want to get hold of them now. And now the wrong names are there, so.
Do that right now.
So now that we're starting to put our word out that we
Yeah.
exist,
Sure.
we want them to be able to get hold of us.
This might be a good thing to put in local businesses too,
Yes.
especially in the village,
Mhm.
hopefully as well.
Yeah, and it might be something too that,
Thank you.
if you could give them to the schools.
Oh, yeah, schools, that would be good.
And again, and I didn't put like the Neil Lash Nature Trail, the George Gold Nature Trail. I mean, there could be a lot more, but I thought this is at least a start.
Yeah.
And it's the highlight of things involved with all the recreation areas.
Yeah, well, there's kind of a separation, and at least conceptually in my mind, that between the real, what I would call honest to God nature stuff, which is like the Marine Park and Quarry Hill and the town forest,
Mhm.
and then the stuff that's concentrated in the village,
Mhm.
which is, I don't want to go so far as to say urban, but it's as close as we're going to get here, but it's a little bit different,
Mhm.
a little different thing.
Okay, so, I think what we have to do is, maybe for the next meeting, to kind of finalize the plans for the Earth Day, to get some pictures and things going, and to get material that we could do a press release with, that you can do Facebook posts with, and to get all that done.
So I'll just get the final pictures with the content
Right,
I drummed up, right?
that kind of thing. Then I can work on finalizing the flyer with a little bit of help, getting things done there, and again, describing the parks in a way that's simple but, complete. And,
What are you shooting for on that, for May, then, or earlier?
well, I'm thinking, it would be nice to have it for April, for Earth Day.
Oh, that's good.
The brochure, yeah.
Yeah, the brochure, the little flyer, because that's something that we can hand out, and we can leave it at different places. We don't have any kiosks that really have a place to keep a map, like the land trusts do, but eventually we will have that. But we don't currently now, but again, we could,
It wouldn't hurt to at least have it at the town office leading up to
Yeah.
Earth Week.
we can have it here.
I'll check the next time I'm down at the landing. There may be some space in the historical.
Oh, yeah, that one has a better kiosk than any other place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much people actually look at it. I think they do, actually. I mean, especially people that aren't down there very often.
We might ask permission from Mid-Coast Conservancy if we can leave some of these maps at the River Park.
Oh, good point, yeah.
Because the River Park kiosk is a professional one, And I can make the contacts there. I'm actually on the council, but I never go to the meeting. All right. And, so that kind of gets us there. And then I guess we'll have to look at the calendar next month. Since we meet at the beginning of the month, we could look at the calendar next month and set some dates for things to do. And whether you guys want to go and do some things on your own, you're more than welcome to. But if you let us know, you know, the next meeting I'll bring some of the paint cans that I have with me. Because it should be warm enough to start using spray cans of paint.
Geez, and the next week it's supposed to be in the 50s, 3 days in a row, so.
Yep, if you pick the day right,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
today.
Well, hopefully that stretches into a day like Saturday, you know, so that people can actually get there.
Mhm. So I think that's really our focus right now is the Earth Day plans, the flyer, the Adopt a Park program will come after that, and then whatever cleanup volunteer work we can get in between.
I would love to set some official volunteer cleanup dates too to add to the events. I was inspired by the Waldoboro Historical Society. They added some events leading out through the summer, and it's nice to get on people's radar. And a lot of their events happen at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it might be nice to do something in the morning and then encourage people, or cross promote them going to the program at the Historical Society afterwards, or. But I'd love to get some set out on the events in Facebook so they show up for people.
Okay. I think March is a little early to look to schedule anything, but if we're meeting early April, then that would be a good time to say, let's really look at this calendar and put some things down.
Yeah.
And again, then we can plan April, May, June, and if we need a rain day, we need a rain day.
Yeah, rain days happen, but it's just be nice so people can plan around. I mean,
Or even think
I know
about doing
in-
something they might think of doing it on their own. They say, oh, this kind of thing's going on, well, let's go out and do it ourselves.
Yeah, I know that if it's really gonna be in the 50s towards the end of next week, I'm gonna be out on both the traffic islands.
Get those started.
The quicker I can get into that, the faster it looks good, you know.
So, I think that's kind of, I don't think there's that. Apparently, this whole public discussion about 80 grade school, we might as well bring it up, because we might have to discuss it. As much as I don't like to.
Well, we don't have to, you know,
Well, I
we won't
think-
insist.
I think we might want to just chat about it a little so that we get our own sense of what we would, if we're all on the same page together, if we have disagreements, now's the time to find out. Because it's gonna come up. Now, this whole thing with 80 grade school is that they finally got Volunteers of America to agree to buy this building and to make it useful. And now there's a person in town that wants to tear the building down and make the whole thing a park. Where, in my opinion, and this is my opinion and we could share, there already is a park. Philbrook Field is a park. It's a ball field, it's a soccer field, and the George Gould Nature Trail goes around that whole thing.
Right.
And no matter what you do with the building, you could still have a park. Whether you want to make it something more than a baseball park or a soccer park, I guess you could.
But I think, to me, the biggest difference from the way things are now to the way the park proposal wants it to be, is that the building is demolished and buried. I mean, other than that, and then they spend a couple $100,000 or maybe whatever they've got left after demolishing and burying the building out of their supposed $300,000 goes into making the park that's already there better in some ways, which
If I can
one of
just,
the first things I noticed about their plan is new tennis courts, which
Well,
anybody
the
here
tennis
play?
courts are an issue because the tennis courts, there was a federal grant that allowed them to put that tennis court there. And there, I don't know exactly what the stipulation is, but there is a stipulation
I
about
mean,
what
the
they,
tennis courts that are there now.
that are in bad repair.
Okay.
There's some sort of stipulation, again, I'm not clear on exactly, do you know what it is?
yeah, there are just a few clarifications that I'll make. First, with what Volunteers of America is proposing, the only thing in this agreement that would go to Volunteers of America would just be the school and in the parking area. So the tennis courts, that little triangle in front of the school, that undeveloped bit between the school and Philbrook Ballfield and Philbrook Ballfield itself would all still be the town. So I think just roughly, the town still keeps about 7 of the 8.5 acres that are up there already. As for the tennis courts, those were built in the 1970s with the land water conservation funds. So as a condition, the town still has to preserve that type of outdoor recreation.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be tennis courts, but we can use funds to sort of combine it into an alternative outdoor rec. So it doesn't necessarily have to be tennis courts. It could be fixed up and turned into basketball courts or a pickleball court or a playground. It could be something, but it has to still be in that area.
Well,
And
the thing about the tennis courts that struck me is that, I don't know, is there a big demand for tennis courts in Waldeboro?
Not lately. We've had.
pickleball courts.
Yeah, pickleball more so.
Yeah, I mean,
The Dutch Neck tore down their tennis courts and filled it all in.
I mean, it would seem to me almost more attractive, especially for kids, if there was a soccer field there. I mean,
Well, there
not
is-
where the tennis courts are now, but
There is a soccer field there.
there is. There are
Yeah.
goals and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't,
There's the baseball field that you see
Yeah,
when you
that-
drive down Philbrook Lane, and then behind it are the soccer goals on either end. The soccer field goes
so off, closer to the
closer to the trail.
Closer to the trail, oh, okay, I never got down that far when I was there for Waldeboro.
Closer to where they set the fireworks off.
Well,
Okay.
in addition to that, I spoke with Marcus, it was after the election, but there is some demand to at least improve Philbrook Ball Field and, with what's left, actually make that something, fine, have the park, something for more Waldeboro Day type events and everything. But, if there are kids who are going up there on a Saturday or so to play Little League baseball or soccer or whatnot, then there is something else that can still be there, but still have a multi-use to it.
Right.
That, like, I even spoke with him a bit more. They would love to see some work redone to Philbrook Ball Field, just to still be that versatile field that it's used for right now.
And I know Waldeboro, there was all kinds of discussions when they moved it there, but it really ended up being a very good place. Because you could set up vendors, we had plenty of space for the dunk tank and for all the different kind of fun activities like that. And it could be a nice place if you wanted to build a bandstand or gazebo or something like that for the occasional concerts, that'd be nice. But I don't think the talk of this proposal that was being put out was all about farmers markets, community gardens, concerts in the park. Who's gonna manage all that?
Yeah.
I was a manager of the farmers market for, how many years was that?
Yeah,
4 or 5 years?
5,
And,
effectively.
no matter what we did or
Waldeboro Day
where we
before
went,
that.
we didn't get a whole lot of, the community support was nil. And it took a lot of work to manage it, get the signs out each time.
And the work spent on
And-
trying to promote things on Facebook,
And I had those flyers, those brochures, I had, all this stuff in the press releases, and we had weekly, notes that we'd send out. We did a lot, but, it was a fun place to be. We all had a good time there. But we didn't attract a lot of business. So, and it takes a lot to run all these things, and, if this presentation, the people that are doing this presentation are going to turn around and ask us to manage a community garden, a farmer's market, a concert venue, and I'm sorry. We just want to get the trails in order.
Yeah, that's my sort of feeling is we have a lot of kind of rebuilding to do, picking up from after Edward's passing to, and right now there's 4 of us, and
I
we're
know.
fingers crossed that we're going to get some volunteers for what we've already got on our plate.
Right.
And yeah, so I felt a little overwhelmed today kind of reading it. It was
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry,
I just can't imagine taking on any more right now.
Yeah, I gave-
We need to get our
I gave a
trails going, we need to get
poor
our people
description
in
of
there.
what
We need to
I
get
was
the
thinking.
community aware of the beautiful places that exist here,
Yeah,
and we have to maintain them.
yeah.
And that was one thing that was clear about, was Saran Pine, is that her name?
Mhm.
Her presentation is that, it was all about this one spot, and Waldeboro will finally have a park. that was kind of her attitude, and it's like, whoa, hang on a second. Of course, I was at home watching it, so I couldn't actually raise my hand. I was watching the tape.
There's a lot of beautiful places in this town.
Yeah,
I mean, you
think,
didn't really know about Dutch Neck.
I didn't know,
It's gorgeous.
I mean, like, as I told you, that's my whole attraction to this commission was I didn't even know who took care of the town forest or what that was about. I just kind of stumbled upon it on an old website that someone talked about it, or a newspaper article or something, I think is what it was. Yeah, it was maybe the newspaper announcement. And yeah, so there's a lot, and I've learned a lot from the both of you since being on the commission of all the other great spots we have. And I think that we should really focus in on that challenge about improving them and bringing the attention that they deserve to the public.
Yeah, there's still, on Elevate Waldoboro and Enhance Waldoboro and some of the other message groups, there's still people in Waldoboro that's like, town forest? The hell is that?
Yeah.
We have a town forest?
Yeah.
And these are people who have been here at least as long as I have, which is 20 years.
Yeah.
And our PR department is falling down is what it means to me.
And to have a town with 2 boat launches. I mean, some towns don't have any boat launches.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's an
I think Cushing doesn't have a boat, or they didn't until recently. But I mean, to have 2 beautiful boat launches that are open to the public and one that has a dock and picnic tables and lovely, it's just wonderful. We should be enjoying this resource and sharing it with others.
Yeah.
So I think that's what our main goal and part of our mission statement is to educate and share with people the beautiful things in Waldoboro. So, yeah. Okay, so I think we've got a plan. I'm satisfied. When did the Clamors get out and do their?
I don't know the exact dates, but it won't be a problem. I talked to Julie about it a little bit, and I got to get a hold of Justin. But also, for the past couple of years, during the Shellfish cleanup, we've had a day where we invite the public. It might be a little different this year with COVID,
Right.
but we could also get some citizens to help clean up. If we're like, I could be there or Leslie or somebody during that cleanup and say, would you like to come with us and do some conservation trails? Peg Tynan already volunteered to help with Corey, so
Good.
and that might be another way to bring awareness from residents, because a lot of them have shown up in the past to the roadside cleanup, shoreline cleanup. So
Maybe we could roll that into the Earth Day. I don't.
Does it normally happen?
Is that too early for them?
we usually have a couple dates at the end of April,
Okay.
but it's more May and then the beginning of
That's
June.
separate.
That could
Yeah.
be one of the dates. Maybe.
Because multiple cleanups is not a bad thing.
No,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping we talked about dates next time, is doing more than one through the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And because a lot of it's trail maintenance too. I mean, after the winds we had here, there's blowdown on these trails.
oh yeah.
Crazy.
Just to comment on the clamor cleanup, I'll call it that. The public participation has been almost nil. Very, very few people show up for that.
I thought last year it turned out good.
Last year it was pretty dismal, but
Yeah,
the year
that's what I'm
before,
talking about.
we had over 50 people show up
Really?
to one of them. So because I was
Yeah.
helped organize that.
Was it because people didn't hear about it, know about
Well,
it?
last
what-
year probably
Weather-
because of the
COVID scare.
I was about to say, when was the Shellfish cleanup last year?
It was the same. It's always end of April and May. And
That would have been like the middle of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that probably was the reason why.
That's when everybody was afraid to be near anybody else.
Well, we were on lockdown in April, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
So that could have, because the year before it was a good turnout.
it was a lot. We had a lot of people from the public, and it was great. Bob Butler volunteered. Julie came and volunteered, and Katie Winchenbach helped.
Yeah.
It was a great. We got all kinds of people, and maybe this year we'll have a few more volunteers, but.
Well, Larry got but that was in, I think that was in August, that Larry got all those people.
Yeah, it must have been August, because that was one of our first meetings.
Yeah, Larry got a lot of people to work on the town forest.
It was kind of, he got, these are
No, we
doing
did
the town
the
forest.
town
Oh,
forest.
you
He got,
Yeah,
he got
William and
12
I.
people to do, because Corey Hill
Oh, okay,
and,
that's what it was, all
and
right.
the town landing.
Right.
It was like 12 people.
Yeah.
But again, it was still, again, staggering dates and having different dates and saying one of us will be there to guide you along, and that would be kind of a good, and that way you could get smaller groups to show up to help out doing it. But I would say, let's wait till April to set our dates and our schedules. We'll have a better feel for weather and the COVID. I heard some good news today. Apparently, the president said that there's gonna be enough vaccine available for every adult American by the end of May. Now with the Johnson & Johnson and Merck is helping make the Johnson & Johnson. So this could be a really good thing. Okay, so I think we're gonna move forward on whatever we can with Dutch Neck, Quarry Hill, Town Forest, and the George Gold Trail. We'll hold off for the Midcoast Conservancy help later in the season. And sounds good.
All right. So if you guys, you know, if the weather's nice or something, and you guys are gonna go do some cleanup someplace, drop me an email or something.
Yep.
You know, if I can
Yeah.
get there,
I'll shoot an email. I mean, like even last year, I would just kind of play it by ear in the morning, and if it was nice, I'd just take my dog out to the town forest to do a trail cleanup but yeah.
Well, I'm open most days. I mean, you know, I have things that I have to get done during the course of the day, but
Sure.
it's not like I've got somebody saying, well, at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know.
And again, the next, make sure we have the date set for the next meeting. I'll bring paint, some of the paint that I have.
Yeah, I think William has some good news.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Julie the other day. She had me come in. And as far as I know, I believe we're going to get our own $1,000 in our own dedicated conservation budget this year.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't gone before the budget committee and stuff, but she proposed that to me because we've been kind of borrowing out of parks and cemeteries,
Yeah, right.
I believe. And so I thought that was a good, step in the right direction for the commission to
Excellent.
That'd be
Because that's the
exciting.
picnic tables, that's some, the
paint.
gravel.
I mean, we don't need much money. $1,000 should be more than enough to carry us for
It would do a
years.
lot of
So
great things. It would help with the blueberry event too, if we could provide
Absolutely.
Well, we get
little-
an awful lot done with the town gardens and stuff with the garden club for $1,000 a year, so.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe if we could get the flyers printed here. If you guys could print out the flyers and things like that, then that would practice.
I can get some price budgets, because, I'll just have to get you some price estimates for that.
If it's just that whole thing.
How many flyers were you thinking?
Well, I would start with like 100.
Okay.
I'm not talking thousands here. I'd start with 100 because you put a few here, a few there.
Okay, I was thinking a lot more than, 100.
Yeah, I would start with 100 because you want them to be used. You don't want them to sit around.
Yeah.
And it's not like, well, the WBA we buy 10,000 but we do it for 2 full years. So I'd start with 100 and then see what we need from there. And then it's just something, anytime we have a gathering or something, you hand them out. And again, if we let it be known in one of the press releases that they can get hold of these flyers at such a location, and who knows, normally I would say the library and this.
Well, even someplace like the community pharmacy or, the
The
sub
Narrows
shop.
Tavern.
The Narrows Tavern, sure.
Bullwinkles. I'm not sure who would be interested, but we'll find
Or
out.
the new cafe, I guess it is.
Oh, the Broadway Cafe.
Broadway Cafe.
Mm.
I haven't been over there yet.
So I mean, if we start with 100, then we'll see what we need. But we'll have to formalize it.
Yeah.
And so April 6th, Tuesday, April 6th at 5:15 right here?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. And we can work online with whatever we want to do to get, the pictures finished and get different things. And
That is so,
maybe we can
so
send
cool.
things back and forth. Remember, Waldeboro Farmers Market at gmail.com.
Yeah, I can share that with you, and I'll work no promises that I'll do all the pictures this weekend, but
Oh, I wouldn't expect.
I'll work
Good
over.
amount.
Yeah, I need inspiration. And I'll work on doing the maps and getting them in Photoshop, and getting some presents on I'll see how the Google map getting the locations on there go. And I'd love to, as we move forward, start drafting out a more formal. I mean, this looks great, but I don't know. I was reading of other conservation commissions and what they do, what they provide, and a lot of them do like a nice strategy plan, a nice summarized strategy plan, and it's on their page. And I was really inspired by that because it really narrows down. It identifies the lands, it identifies their mission, what they're protecting, what they're encouraging, managing, and educating. And I'd love to see getting something like that put together with everything we're doing. Another way to drum some strong attention. So that's been on my mind that I wanted to mention too.
Well, maybe you can help work on that.
Yeah.
Certainly, you've got the mission statement and some basic stuff there. And the locations, again, that little flyer, that's kind of the highlight of locations.
Yeah. Like I know we have all the pieces and parts, but I'd love to just see like an overall formal strategy plan put together that encompasses all the great things, the direction we're moving towards.
Yeah, that would be nice to put on the website.
Yeah.
That would be really great.
And I guess the big question for me that keeps coming to the forefront is beautification versus preservation. In my mind, Garden Club is like beautification, whereas our commission is more about preservation and protection, stewardship, education.
Well, it's somewhat about improving the appearances. I mean,
Yeah.
grooming the trails, but more along the lines of usability. I mean, the medians are for show. The traffic counts.
Right.
They're going to attract business.
That's Garden
Yeah, we
Club.
originally started with the beautification and the conservation.
Right, yeah,
The adopted
so-
park and the site.
That's absolutely a natural bifurcation there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's where it all started.
Yeah.
But we kind of said, let's all work together more.
Yeah, I think collaborations are great. That's something that keeps kind of reoccurring to me, so I'm just saying it out loud to just
Another way
think about it.
Bringing that to the public's eye too, saying this part of it is the beautification, this part of it is the preservation.
Yeah, and the beautification part has the advantage of
Catching the
being
interest.
visible,
Yeah. And making people aware.
Yeah.
It's the awareness part of saying, gee, I'm so proud to live in this town that takes such good care of the medians and looks so pretty. And
It's good, but I agree. Like I tend to lean more towards the conservation than I do the beautification. I think that most conservation commissions, that's what they focus on. Is the preserving the nature trails, the flora and fauna of the different areas. And I feel like we stretch ourselves out too much instead of having like a narrow focus, and then it becomes kind of overwhelming, especially when we're 4 people. We're trying to get more volunteers, but
We're an ambitious group, I think.
we are ambitious.
Well, the way I look at it too is that, the conservation part, the trails and the town forest and stuff, there's, by being associated with the beautification effort, which is mostly, entirely funded basically by the Garden Club, although we could use more volunteers that are, like under the age of 80. But you guys can leverage that because that is visible, but the association there helps because when I'm out, and I talk to a random citizen while I'm working on something gardening wise, I'm telling them about the Conservation Commission and all the stuff we do.
Well, no, and I agree. There's a great collaborative effort between the two. It's like there's a gorgeous rhododendron at the entrance of the town forest, and being able to feature that and that's a great collaboration moment to say, are you interested in being part of the Waldeboro Garden Club? Here's some here's the information for volunteering, those kind of things. But there is a level of beautification within conservation, like just keeping a trail properly picked up and clean. That is beautification on a conservation level.
Oh, absolutely. Wood chips.
just safe and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll work on getting more volunteers to help out, and we'll work on the trails, but I'm not gonna start going outside to do trail work until April. But I'll be happy to bring paint and everything else. And if you do decide you need something, or you wanna go out and do something,
Yeah, I'll touch base if it gets to be a nice day and it, I think if when we do decide to start rerouting the town forest, we really want, it to be a day, like, I guess we're talking about taping it off, because we want to do like a proposed trail, and then we'd
Right.
love to have you walk it, so we can all vote on it together before we formalize it as a trail.
And mark it, yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what we've done in the past,
Yeah, which that would be lovely.
and I've got plenty of tape, I don't know.
How warm does it have to be for the paint to work?
I think 40
I think 40 degrees,
40,
and
okay.
anything above that would be
I
fine.
think 40 degrees and the spray paint will come
So
out.
real soon then. Like,
Could
not
be.
today, but,
But you don't want it too windy either.
oh, yeah.
Or you'd be heating the paint.
Or we become the Blue Man Group.
We sure would.
And if we are gonna think about finalizing the Adopt a Park program on the next meeting, is it possible to get a group email going with the Recreation Department, the Shellfish, all these people, that it's also something they maintain, so we can,
Oh, that's a good idea.
where you said the Recreation Department people you talked to was kind of before, so that way we can get their input, like, yeah, we love this, and this is what we'd love to see happen as a volunteer effort. And that will help us, it would help us formalize more pieces and parts like Steve sent here for these areas.
I can send out the mass email.
That would be great.
And that would, yeah, and that, as far as drawing up, volunteers for the clamor cleanup, because it's traditionally one of the cleanups is where we like invited the public, right? And last year we didn't advertise it much, COVID, and just, I wasn't available. I helped a lot with the previous year, and they scheduled them all on Saturdays, and I work at the transfer station, so I couldn't be a part of it. And if we could like just collaborate with the warden and both advertise, I think we could drum up a lot more volunteers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and when things are getting better and better as far as the virus goes,
Yeah.
we might get more people turning out.
So the rec committee and who else?
It looks like, sorry, I was going back to the list here. So the rec committee, the Shellfish Commission,
specifically Justin on that, because he's the one that handles all the cleanups.
And you probably should include John Daigle in that,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Public Works,
Public Works.
because they gravel the driveway, the, parking areas, and they do all the maintenance.
Well, yeah, John supplies, our gardening efforts with wood chips, and if we ever want, like for benches are kind of a sensitive topic because there's the worry of theft, but he and I kicked it around a little bit last year, and I said, if you got some of those big boulders that have one flat side, you got a bench there that
Yeah.
nobody is gonna be able to steal, and he liked the idea, so.
So rec committee, Shellfish Commission, Justin, Public Works, who else?
Just gotta let them know what our list of sites are that we are going to try to
About Adopt a Park.
involve volunteers in helping to maintain, and if there's any specific tasks that they can think of.
Yeah, any input, really.
If there's anything that they find hard to keep up with, that there's someone there to manage.
I'll get that tomorrow. Am I just sending out the document that Steve passed out tonight?
Would that be a good start, but is there more that we should add to that to explain?
I think that just we're interested in finalizing an Adopt a Park program, and this is the sites that we're interested in involving. And we'd love to hear input, suggestions, comments, right? So that way we could really nail it down for the next meeting.
Right.
Yeah, just instead of, there would have to be some intro to the documents, like,
Right, I'll provide some context, but
okay, yeah.
I was just gonna send that as because I think the first page kind of does outline it a bit, but there's that, Leslie mentioned that the second page has all the
The sites.
sites. But I'll just make sure to bring in the context that we're hoping next meeting that you guys will have this approved and want to make sure everyone had a say on it.
Yeah.
And we'll take any input they have, whether they have suggestions of tasks to be done, or whether they want to say, no, let us take care of that particular spot completely.
Yeah.
Or there are certain tasks we'll take care of, but you can do these tasks.
Yeah. Anything like that.
Well,
Any
it just-
input they have.
It would-
Yeah, even if we're hands-off a specific area for whatever reason,
But we know they're taking care of it.
yeah, we know they're taken care of, but it would be good for them to keep us in the loop on the progress they're making too, because, you know, we're gonna be publicizing all of this stuff. I mean, that's kind of part of our mission too.
And part of it too, when you did the, medians the other year, and you were taking pictures of it, showing it to everybody, you were showing the progress every
Yeah.
step of the way.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was
very exciting. People got very excited about it.
Yeah, that was one thing that I learned from building the Garden Club Facebook page from scratch, was that people like stories. You know, they
Yeah, they
like
do.
episodic
And they like
stories.
pictures.
Yeah.
So, you know, you start with a project and, well, you know, it looks like crap because it's got all this weeds and stuff, and then you clear it off and say, well, there's progress. And little by little, you build an audience. I mean, it's kind of like slow motion television or something.
Yeah.
You know? But there's that kind of technique applies here too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
any of these organizations that are doing different work, like if they're like filling this mud puddle that's in front of this parking area or something, that they can show what it was and then what it is
Yeah.
when they finish, and we can share that information.
Speaking of which, isn't this supposed to be the ice rink out back? Is that where the ice rink is supposed to be, really?
I've heard something about it.
Well, we should, at some point, take a picture of what it looks like now.
All right,
Which
well,
is kind of like
I
Mars.
think we're adjourned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ice rink, that was a whole nother, because I was part of the community group talking about that, but that was another thing like this, where you just can't get volunteers.